Hey, good morning, everyone. I'm Mathangi from Terra Information Group. Thank you for joining today's webinar. Today's topic is Get Out of the Jungle of HR Paperwork and Documents with OpenText. And I will be the moderator for today's webinar. Before we begin, I want to mention a few housekeeping items. All participants will remain on mute during the session. If you have a question for our presenter, please type it in the question box in your participant panel. If we are unable to get to your question during the session, we will be sure to follow up afterwards. Today's presentation is being recorded. A link to the recording will be sent to all registered attendees shortly after the session. I am pleased to introduce our speakers today. We have Randy Redenor, is our Senior Vice President of Sales at Terra Information Group. Mamta Agrawal is Vice President here at Terra Information Group. Yana will be our main speaker today. She is an OpenText Principal Solution Consultant, specializing in SAP. She has close to 20 years of experience in the field of enterprise information management, working with medium to large enterprises in a variety of technical roles. And with that, I will turn it over to Randy to continue our webinar.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for taking the time out of your schedules to join us. I think you'll find this to be quite the very intriguing and interesting presentation. I've been through Yana's presentations in the past, and her expertise in OpenText is unmatched, and I'm sure that everybody will gain a lot of valuable information. But first of all, I'd like to at least spend a little time at a high level talking about Terra Information Group. We're an IT and business consulting company, obviously. We've been an SAP services partner for 20 years, a SuccessFactors partner for 9 years, and OpenText partner now for a year, and very, very excited about our relationship with OpenText and our focus on our service team is composed, all of our people are very, very experienced. We have about 20 years of experience in all different areas of IT. And we are a global company, as you can see. We're headquartered in Chicago in the United States. We have an office in Argentina and some of the other countries you listed. We have about 100 SAP projects and already completed and as well as improvements. The projects we've performed are global and with global templates and localizations in 12 different countries at least, and well over 100 customers. I think that's a very, very low and conservative number. And within our Terra Information Group, we have about 140 employees and 3 main offices in 3 different countries and continents. So next slide, please. Our forte, again, our DNA, we started out in SAP HR on-premise, and that's where we started and migrated with SAP to SuccessFactors. And then obviously it just was a natural with all the ancillary add-on solutions to SuccessFactors that we migrated to OpenText. Document management is extremely important now with so many documents and so many things and analytics that are being created. We have been, again, as I said, 20 years an SAP services partner. We have amazing project references and both clients and individuals. Having been in HR, obviously we're agnostic regarding industry verticals. So we always start every project with best practices in mind and know the industry and solution and roadmaps for all the industries. Global experiences we've mentioned with global templates and localizations in each country, and we do a lot of different things in the training area. We have lots of options on a CBT, classroom, online, train the trainer, many different variations. So we are very in depth in training as well as language. We have a language group that can do translations as well as a separate entity, but it's also part of our company. And again, we've always from the start maintained a very diverse workforce. Being global, the cultural differences and other things in certain countries are very important. So next slide, please. And again, some differentiators. This is just a few of them. We solve business problems consulting with SAP best business practices. The specific projects to flexible, we do temp to perm services, staffing, any type of supplemental staffing. It can be, we've done some permanent, we've done contract to hire, and we do just pure staffing. We're able to sell licenses in most situations, and for most of our partners, we're also a reseller, along with the consulting services, implementations, as well as post-implementation support, upgrades, and training, as we mentioned. We always use world-proven methodologies. We've adapted SAP's ASAP methodology and some of the new methodologies and added some of our own specialties to the implementation strategy. And we have extensive experience. Our leadership, every one of our leadership team has at least 20, and a lot of us have 30 plus years of experience. So I think we've been around and understand the industry and have migrated through all of the SAP transitions and all the other solutions that are coming to the cloud and OpenText and all the other solutions. So we're very excited about the opportunity today and extremely excited about OpenText. And next slide, please. Again, this is just a big, broad picture of our services and solutions. As you can see, SuccessFactors, OpenText, Hybris, all of the SAP suite. We started out in R2, R3, ECC 5, 6, and then to all the different S4HANA, and we're doing a lot of work in IoT now, and a lot of the new technologies and advancements in IBP and IS Retail. A lot of things have changed. A lot of those solutions, now that they're in the cloud, are no longer the same solution that they were on premise. So we have expertise in all of those areas. Next slide, please. And again, this is just a small snapshot of some of our clients, but as you can see, being HR focused in our DNA, there's not really an industry specific. We've touched on almost all verticals and know most of the roadmaps and most of the client partners within those different industries. So I think we're a very, very good partner and well-versed with all of the SAP suite and all of our IT products, and certainly OpenText. We are an expert and have trained, certified people. So that being said, I'll turn it over to our featured speaker today, Jana.
Thank you, Randy. And thank you everyone for joining. I'm very honored to be a panelist on today's webinar. And I plan to go over the solution and discuss how OpenText jointly with Terra Info Group can help you get out of the jungle of paper documents in HR. So my plan is to go over a couple of slides and show you a live demonstration of one of our HR solutions, and then close out the session with just a few summary type items about what we discussed today and the Q&A. So without further ado, what we are observing in the industry today, right, and what challenges a lot of our customers are trying to solve are very common across a lot of different industries, right? Customers are concerned about retaining employees, overcoming this new thing called the Great Resignation, right? Nurturing the talent, keeping people, also attracting good candidates. At the same time, there are a lot of regulatory pressures on companies around the world, right? Around how to manage employee documents correctly, what are some of the privacy regulations and concerns, and how they can, you know, align and comply with these requirements while still focusing on these strategic people services challenges and objectives. So we have been in this business for many years as OpenText and jointly with SAP, right? We've had a strong partnership in the HR space and a suite of solutions that we offer for close to 25 years now. It started off with a solution called Employee File Management for SAP HCM on-premise, and later on evolved as SAP's HR core offerings have evolved with the acquisition of SuccessFactors. OpenText has evolved our offerings to offer a sister cloud solution for document-specific and information management components, right? So today we offer a suite of solutions that are designed to help customers who are using SAP core HR applications to manage these people services, work better, work more efficiently, and be more compliant, right? So our solutions focus around helping you, helping your customers, helping HR organizations and people services to digitize and consolidate their paper and siloed documents from different places into a centralized cloud repository that's secure, compliant, and helps you be more in line with local requirements. It helps with making HR organizations as well as managers and employees more efficient around how they work with HR documents, right? Through self-service, expedited ticket resolution, and just more efficient services and tasks within HR. We also have a supplemental component in the suite that we'll be looking at momentarily that helps people services and HR organizations to get away from generating paper, right? So we will talk about the document generation application that is provided as part of the suite. And of course, last but not least, is the area of control, security, and compliance, right? So how do we ensure that the documents are correctly classified and retained? How do we ensure that private information remains private, right? And how do we ensure that we are able to help you manage in a global organization in compliance with regional regulatory laws and different compliance rules and requirements? So all of that kind of falls under our control and security bucket. So I wanted to kind of walk you through some of these components and functions in the solution today and show you a little bit of this product, and then talk a little bit more about how it helps customers manage employee documents throughout the life cycle of the employee and beyond, right? So typically we know that over time, employees, on average attain between 50 and 100 documents in their employee file, right? And this can be smaller and larger depending on where the employees reside, how long they are with the company, what kind of industry you're in, what country you're in, and so on. And that based on that, also there can be many different systems and applications involved, and many different mediums, paper, email, Word documents, PDF, are involved in the process. So we're going to walk through this demonstration today and look at how OpenText and Terra Info Group can help you manage this jungle, right? So without further ado, I'm going to jump into the demo, and we're going to look at these typical use cases and scenarios that our solution can easily support with HR documents. So first, we're going to just take a little tour around the solution, and I'll show you how it works and what it looks like from the different personas perspective. We'll look at the basics of document management that the solution offers. Of course, the focus of it, keep in mind, is to be supplemental and complementary to what SAP SuccessFactors modules such as onboarding, recruiting, Employee Central already offer, right? And leverage as much of that process work, security, and user experience as possible, and not reinvent the wheel. Then we'll talk about the document generation capability and how you can help customers and your clients and employees to get away from printing paper, signing documents, scanning it back in over and over and over again. And then we'll touch on reporting, security, and compliance. So I'm going to jump into a browser window and show you the drive into our demo environment. And I'm going to log on as an HR business partner or HR analyst first and show you what they can do and what the system looks like to them with OpenText connected and turned on. So we log on to the SuccessFactors homepage. And of course, our solution is tightly integrated with SuccessFactors through single sign-on, security, and role-based permissions. Within this system, we add a couple of different tiles and menu options, right? And these can be, of course, highly configurable to be branded and change the look and feel of these tiles to suit your overall theme and colors and branding of your SuccessFactors tenant. And within this environment, you'll see that we've integrated something called an iframe that allows us to jump into a list of the employees that I manage as an HR business partner, right? So within this dialog, I can access what we call a workspace or a digital file of one of these employees named Jada Baker. And within this dialog, you'll see sort of an overview page, a documents page, a dossier view, and a couple of different widgets, right, that we can leverage to navigate and tour around this person's digital file, right? This is all surfacing the information about this employee, the status of their digital file and its completeness, as well as giving us a full view of the different folders and document types that are present within this person's file, and a dossier view, which is a more user-friendly thumbnail view that gives us a complete view of the file at a glance. Right. In here also we have various shortcuts that can allow us to expand the view, open it in a full browser tab, right, and experience the OpenText application user interface for the solution. So, for example, if someone needs to access and review and search the documents outside of the scope of SuccessFactors, for example, and just in a standalone browser window, they can do that through the OpenText core for SuccessFactors interface. However, we'll jump back in here and continue our tour, right? So this is the HR business partner that has view of sort of like a power user over the employee's workspace file, and within here they can see different statuses. So you'll see overlay information here that says pending approval, and you'll see another item that says signed, right? And you'll see documents with exclamation points overlaid over the thumbnail, and it says outdated document and so on. And then you'll see 3 question marks here, and that will show us that these documents are missing from this employee's records, right? So this kind of gives us a visual view of what's present in the file and the statuses of some of the other information that we need to have. There's also a toggle that allows me to turn on and show only required documents. So this is, of course, configurable, right, based on the country, your industry, and your policies. You'll be able to configure which documents are required to be present within an employee's file and which documents also have an expiration policy, right? Let's say the policy agreement has to be signed every year or anytime a policy has been updated. So we can set an expiration date of, let's say, 1 year on this document type, and this will automatically be monitored and tracked by the system. The passport also can be set to expire after, let's say, 5 years, 10 years, depends on the country, and the system will automatically flag that type of document upon, expiry and let us know that there's an action pending. So at this point, I'm able to interact with these documents. I can open these documents by just clicking them. And what happens is that we can open this document in the viewer that's provided with the system. That's helpful, of course, because the user is not going to be prompted to, install any kind of applications such as Adobe Reader or anything else. The web-based viewer that's provided with the tool is able to handle and display different types of document formats and file types in the browser window. But you can also open it in the native application. My employee file is more geared towards the persona that's currently logged in, right? So I'm logged in as an HR business partner. I'm able to see certain tiles that are specific to my role, right? And that's all tied to SuccessFactors security schema called role-based permissions. So if that's configured already in the SuccessFactors EC administration area, this will automatically be synchronized and enforced, right, or mapped essentially to the OpenText core document repository and the associated permissions that you have. So my team to-dos will show me a list of sort of actionable items. And we'll talk about that a little bit more. Reports will give us a detailed sort of search area and an opportunity to view things such as a completeness check or items requiring attention or some other type of information that may interest us on a high level group type basis, right? So when I'm searching for all of the missing documents, I'll get an actionable dynamic list that shows me all the documents and files that contain missing information, and I'll be able to action them directly from here, click into the file of the employee and review it, as well as export the list and send it to perhaps to my shared service colleagues or to the manager of this employee or to the group in order to help pursue and action some of these items. Right, so we kind of did a quick tour around the solution here, but now I want to walk through a couple of different examples. So how do the users actually work with these documents? How do they manage the document, right? So we'll jump back into the employee file area, and we'll walk through a couple of document uploads and document updates to see what the solution is able to help me accomplish, right? So I'm jumping back into the file belonging to an employee named Jada Baker, right? And I can jump in from my employee file, from the employees list, and also from the SuccessFactors search bar at the top. The Documents tab allows me to jump into a particular folder and navigate the folder views and see sort of this power user's view of the world and navigate the items. And the dossier view is allowing me to just look at the thumbnails and jump directly to the document, right? In here, I'm able to upload a document or use a drag and drop functionality to upload a missing document. So I'm going to grab a driver's license, drag it over, and the system will automatically prompt me to review the document type, name of the file, and date of origin. So these things are important, and we try to keep them as simple and intuitive as possible, to not force the user to fill out long forms and type a lot of information. But we want to make sure that these things are correct, because these will automatically be used in document retention, in inherited permissions and security, and help us manage the life cycle of the document, right? So these are the three sort of pieces of metadata that we want to make sure are correct in the document in order to help with the classification, security, and retention. So when I hit upload, the document is automatically added into the system, because in this particular case, even though it was a required document, we did not require or specify that there should be a workflow or an approval step associated with this document type. So because I'm an HR business partner, I'm able to upload this document type without having to have a second person review and approve this file's addition. However, I'll show you another example. In this particular scenario, we'll add a bank information document. And in this example, this document type has been configured in the system to require an approval or review. So when I hit upload, you will see that this document is uploaded into this temporary space in the repository and is tracked, and now it's waiting for approval. So behind this document type configuration in the system, we've turned on the rule that says whenever a person uploads a document of type bank information, or let's say any financial document, will require an approval workflow to automatically be kicked off. We have a little menu item here where we can see the properties of the document, and we can jump back, right, and select and view the workflow. Right, so if you want to just follow up and see what's happening, you can tell, review and see, I logged on as William Miller. I initiated this document request, approval request, and now it's been sent to the HR Business Partners group for review and approval before its final assignment to the Jada Baker employee workspace. I hope that makes sense. So the system is very, intuitive and easy to use, but at the same time, there's a lot of power and a lot of rules operating behind the scenes, making it highly secure, providing a lot of checks and balances, and helping you seamlessly enforce security and compliance around how these documents are stored and managed in the system. Now, I want to just touch on another area which I think is important, and that is document generation, right? So we talked a little bit earlier about the fact that today's employees expect a beautiful user experience, highly effective and personalized communications. They expect everything to be accessible on their phone, right? Or at least in the browser. And the days of, ugly, very plain, generic forms that somebody needs to print out and sign and scan back are close to over, right? So we provide a tool as part of this solution stack that we call document generation, right? So when we want to generate a new document for an employee, let's say we want to send a new contract, amended contract to Jada Baker, we can use this tool to create these beautiful, personalized, but yet effective and compliant communications using the built-in document generation tool. So we select the document type by typing in a keyword of what it is we're trying to create. We can also specify a date of origin here. That's one of our important pieces of metadata, tags or index fields, if you like. And then when we hit generate, the solution automatically brings you to a web page where you can review, edit, and sort of finalize what the document generation will do and how the document will look and what clauses and information will be included on the final result. So this is a product called Extreme. It's very, very powerful. The way it works, I like to say, just to give you an analogy, it's like a mail merge on steroids, right? So it uses a set of templates that you can build and add and create, and it uses those templates in combination with data that comes in from the SuccessFactors suite, right? So it can fill in information based on a source system. And then it also can evaluate business rules to, do what's called conditional formatting in the final result, right? So it has the ability to add a clause based on the state where the employee is residing, or potentially change some kind of salary value or vacation days allotment and assignment based on the country. And, dynamically pull in the data about the employee and the target audience, right? And also pull in numbers and dates and signature blocks and so on from the system based on a combination of template, source data, and business rules. So when we hit preview, we're able to see what the document would look like. We're also able to edit some clauses, review the information that's provided, and fulfill the document. So when we click fulfill, the Extreme engine will actually generate a copy of this document and send it out potentially to the employee. And this type of document generation tool also supports the integration of an e-signature step, right? So in this particular case, I can build it directly into the document, or I can do it as a separate step where I can take this document and send it to a signature service, right? In this case, the document will be sent to OpenText e-signature or something like DocuSign, where the recipient can sign the document and return it. And then the signed copy will be also stored in the system, just like the one that you see here. So what we've created now is stored as the unsigned original copy of the contract. And when it's returned, after having completed the e-signature step, we will also preserve that record containing the electronic signature, right? So that is important because, of course, it helps you get away from, sending paper documents, generating paper, having them printed out, and you control the format and the information and the structure and what the document looks like. So it's easy to manage, preserve, and retain as per your requirements. So the other thing that I wanted to touch on is on the as an employee, from my perspective, as an employee, I can also take on some of these tasks and simplify the life and hopefully optimize the some of the things that today are done by HR business partners. So if I log on as an employee, for example, and I go to my own homepage, let's say I will log on as Ms. Jada Baker, right? The employee now, a different persona. I log on to my SuccessFactors homepage, right? And I have my own information tailored to me displayed on my SuccessFactors EC homepage. I have my employee file accessible to me here, and I can do a lot more, again, based on configurations and what you configure and allow the employee to see and do. I can also do some of my own document uploads. I can do some of my own document review, and I can also do my own document generation, right? So if I need to, let's say, apply for a new mortgage, or you know, I want to buy a motorcycle, let's say, and I want to ask for a loan, I can generate my own verification letter, right? So that's a very common request. I'm sure you've heard of it many times. You know, send me a current generation employment verification letter that has my title, my employment history, and my compensation, for example, right? So that's something that can easily be enabled and turned on and automatically provided to the employees through self-service, right? So the employee probably can't do a lot of the stuff that an HR business partner can do, nor would they want to, right? But here they can preview the letter, they can hit generate, and then they can download a copy of the generated file to their desktop and easily take it to the bank or email it to their broker or do with it whatever it is they needed to do, right? So the verification letter is right here. I can select it and hit download, and it will automatically be downloaded to my desktop with my details pulled from the, you know, the EC SuccessFactors system in real time right now. So we'll have the most accurate date, time, title, all the other information that you need in the letter automatically, right? So that's an example of some of the tasks that the solution allows you to offload from the workload typically assigned and allocated to HR shared service, HR business partners, and some of these, you know, access to documents, the ability to upload my own files, the self-service capability, my drag and drop, and so on, allows you to shift some of these workloads off to the managers, to the employees, right, to the folks that you know, can access and do it in the system themselves, right? So I know that my passport has expired in the system. I can add a new document as a new version. Again, it's very simple to do from the employee standpoint, right? But I really, you know, I don't have to fill out a whole bunch of information or fill out a long form or open a ticket and wait for it to come back. All I need to do is just drag the file into the system and make sure I just review one field and it's done, right? Now, this is an important document in the system. Maybe we've seen too many documents uploaded incorrectly, so we will automatically send it to the workflow for an approval, right? So somebody in the shared service, somebody in the HR group can just have a quick review of the document before it's finally added to the permanent employee record, right? So the employee doesn't have to do anything. They don't have to know how it all works. They just drag and drop a document onto the correct square, and that's all they have to do. So we try to make it super intuitive and easy, and ensure that, you know, that it's simple and convenient to use the system in order to increase adoption and really help your employees be excited and have this positive experience with the tool. Now, I wanted to touch on the last sort of segment and the topic in this demo, which is around reporting and compliance. So I'm going to switch personas again. I'm going to go back to our business partner. I'm going to go back in as William. Okay, and then we're going to take a look at some of these sort of important compliance and audit related capabilities that really drive the need for this type of solution, right? So a lot of times you'll say, well, I have the documents digitized, right? They're just sitting somewhere. But the problem is they're difficult to find. They're not linked to the business process. They're not integrated into how you do work. And they also don't have that strong retention management and security aspect to them that's so important in today's global HR environment. So I wanted to just talk to you about it and show you a couple of the things that we provide in the solution for specifically for that aspect of governance and compliance. So you probably already noticed that we have a sort of the classification of document types is kind of built into the to everything that we do within this document management system, right? So within each person's file, and we can go to another employee, let's say Faith Marshall, and we'll see that everything is grouped into document types and filed into folders and so on. So the way the system is configured behind the scenes, each one of those document types has a set of rules associated with it. And those rules will dictate who is allowed to see them, what is the retention schedule behind them, what information can be deleted and how, and which documents are required and mandatory and which ones are not, and which ones will also necessitate some type of an approval, right? So those are the kinds of things that are automatically linked to the document type configuration. Okay, so anytime I have a document that's required, it will be automatically configured in the system, right? And anytime I have a document that has any kind of critical, sort of personal information, I can also lock it down, right? And I can also set retention on documents. So if I want to, I can do it automatically sometimes, and I can also do it through the records management section manually, right? So I think I'm not showing you exactly what I wanted because I have some caching issues here. Switching logins like this in the demo sometimes can be a little tricky, but we'll get there. So when the employee logs on, they have a limited amount of information that they can do, right? But when the business partner logs in, they have a lot more functionality that they can access that will deal with the compliance, reporting, audits, and so on. So I apologize, but I have to switch browsers here and try again. And you'll see that this user, when they're logged in properly into their own sort of user experience and persona, will be able to see a lot more details and a lot more functionality around the file contents and the actions that they're able to perform, right? So on the Faith Jada Baker or any of the employees' files, I'm able to specify when a certain document has to be expired, right? So I can set retention. I can also set legal hold on the document, and I can also send it to follow up and flag it as requiring an update. I can also apply a legal hold, as I mentioned. So if there's litigation or some kind of an e-discovery request, right, and I need to make sure that the document is locked down, there's no disposition, there's no deletion option, there's no modifying this document, I can apply legal holds. And I can also apply various records management rules to these documents to also ensure that, if my rules in my policy says 30 years after termination, the employee records should be destroyed, then the retention schedule in the tool will automatically allow me to do that, right? So those are the types of things that we provide in the system that allow me to manage the governance and compliance side of things of this files, of my team, and ensure that whenever there's an audit, I have reports that I can run and extract from the system very easily. And I can also, at a glance, see which ones of my employee documents are out of compliance and what I need to do in order to remedy the situation, right? So the Faith Marshall file has 3 missing documents and 2 outdated documents, right? Jada Baker's file has 1 missing document and 1 outdated document. And then if I go into the search area, I'll be able to see by document status, by date range, by country, and by employee in order to, be able to do internal audits, right, and conduct my own research and sort of status check on the employee records, but also easily comply with external audits and, sort of these show me type of requests from tax audit, insurance audit, compliance audit, legal, whatever the case may be, right? So again, when we do, let's say, expire soon, decline to sign, we can select more than 1 statuses, right, and conduct our search. And maybe I don't have any of those that meet both of those requirements. I can do the search and find all the information that meets these requirements. What did I search for before? Let's say missing and outdated. And then the report results, the search results, will allow me to export them. And I can also export certain documents or information about my documents to an external file share and download them if need be. So if I need to, let's say, download all these outdated documents, I can select them and download them, right? So that when I'm asked for these bulk exports and reports of information, we have the tools built in to support that. So that concludes the demo section of this presentation. Of course, we could spend lots of time talking about these solutions and looking all the different scenarios and nuances and talking about how it works, how it integrates, and how powerful it is. But I just wanted to give you sort of a flavor for what it does and how it helps to map to those challenges that we talked about earlier, right? How we need to communicate better with our employees, right? We need to get away from generating paper and wet signatures and scanning. That's costly, inefficient, and typically out of compliance, right? There's no way to control and manage paper, right? Other than digitizing it, getting into the system and working in a digital fashion. From the life cycle standpoint too. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, Jana, I just had a question from one of the attendees and I was just going to post it for you. Okay, so this one says, can we see single file status for all employees together on the dashboard and send mass notifications for fulfillment?
So I think the person is asking about single file status as in a single employee's file, or just see a specific status and send mass notifications to everyone that falls. So I guess the short answer is yes, you can configure notifications, and I'm not sure that mass notifications are supported today, but you can certainly notify the employee very easily by sending them a link or sending them an email that you're out of compliance, you need to do X. For a manager, you can send them a report that says, here's the team status, right? These team members are out of compliance, they need to do something. So that will span across multiple employees typically. And you can do the same for let's say an entire office or a country, you can run a report across a group, report on a specific single status, and send that report to any number of folks that you would like. But I do not believe we have a standard mass notification built into the tool today, because we haven't really heard of it as being a necessary feature. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, I hope that answers your question. If not, please feel free to type in additional questions you may have. So
Yeah,
I have
certainly.
another question. How do you go about digitizing and consolidating information from paper and disparate digital repositories? What is the process?
Yeah, certainly. So in order to get started, you really need to kind of understand where the information lives and where it resides. So the initial step is really identifying the big rocks, right? Of, here are my biggest repositories of information. And then you can work with OpenText and Terra Info Group and other partners to help you do services such as digital conversion, right? For paper-based boxes, let's say. You can truck away those boxes and scan them directly into the system. If these documents are, let's say, in a file share or a separate document repository somewhere, we do provide migration offerings to help you bulk load documents with appropriate classification into the system. And we also offer, as you saw, very simple drag and drop functionality directly in the tool. So what we typically see is you stand up the system, you configure your rules and your document types, and then you gradually start that backlog conversion of the historical legacy documents into that new target master system of record. Thank you. I hope that makes sense.
Thank you. I have another question. This one is, do you typically start with legacy historical document conversion or with day forward system configuration?
I think I already touched on that in my last answer, but typically you need to establish this new system of record first, right? So that you don't have to move and rearrange documents twice. So what we typically recommend, and we see customers do it successfully, of course, is that you turn on this document management repository, you do some configurations, and you may need to tweak it over time and change some of the configurations. And you start managing your day forward documents in that. And then gradually you pull in all your historical records and paper scans and other data as you start working with the system, and you have the new target repository ready and functioning for your day-to-day needs. Great question. Thank you.
Sounds good. The next one is, what are the areas or processes in HR where the solution adds the most value?
Yeah, so we typically see the most value in the areas that are paper heavy, right? So naturally it tends to be onboarding and recruiting. It also happens to be around service requests where employees and managers and various contractors, right, and retirees even are asked to provide supporting documentation. Let's say I'm moving, I need to conduct a change of address, I'm expected to upload some document with my new address on it, such as a utility bill, right? Or I'm completed a training course and I want to get reimbursement for my tuition fees. I'm expected to upload my completion certificate or my report card, right? So those are the kinds of things where we see the solution add the most value. But the other thing where I think customers really see it as revolutionary, really transformational, is around the document communications, right? How they generate offer letters, how they generate contracts, how they generate onboarding packages with the document generation tool can really transform the quality of that letter and that document and that communication, and also streamlined the operational costs around how many templates you need to manage, how quickly these documents come together, how easy it is to maintain and edit and adjust them to suit the changing regulations and requirements. So those are the three main areas of focus: onboarding and recruiting, employee requests handling and processing, and document generation. And underpinning all of that is good old security and compliance, right? That's really the main driver for all of this. Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, the last question is, how is this different from native SuccessFactors capabilities?
Right, so that's something that I get asked a lot, right? Because SuccessFactors is a very large suite with a lot of capabilities, and it even has a document attachment framework, right? So you can, let's say, when you complete a performance review, you get a document at the end, and it sticks, it sits in performance module, right? What we do is, first of all, we integrate with all those document attachments and we download them into the master repository. But the main difference to this solution versus a basic attachments capability is that the attachments are specific to each module. They're not centrally managed. They don't have the same level of robust security and retention rules. And you can't they don't flow across modules, right? So any attachments you add in Employee Central stay only in Employee Central. And any attachments you create or upload in Performance stay in Performance, right? And so on and so forth. Our solution integrates with all of that, but gives you a centralized, transparent, secure repository that allows you to have a consolidated 360-degree view of all of those documents and then some, and also adds that layer of regulatory compliance and reporting across all of these documents, as well as document management, bells and whistles, such as version management, full text search, workflow, and other document-related bells and whistles. I hope that makes sense.
Absolutely. Thank you for that. And Jana, if you could please bring up the slide that has all our contact information on it,
Sure.
so that all the attendees can know how they can reach us if they need to. So thank you, everybody, for joining today's webinar. I hope you got a lot of information out of it. If you have any questions, please reach out to us at Terra Information. Mamta and Randy's contact details are here. Feel free to connect with us any way you choose. We'd be happy to talk to you. And thank you and have a great rest of the day. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you very much.
Goodbye.
Thanks for the opportunity. Bye.